The rain was coming down in sheets as I drove home, the wipers of my Volvo working overtime. I'm Oswin, and at 44 I thought I had it all figured out. I was a professor of history at the local university in Providence, Rhode Island. My wife, Lowri, was a successful architect. We had a comfortable life, a beautiful house, and a seemingly perfect marriage. Or so I thought. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Lowri began working later hours, attending more conferences, and generally becoming more distant. I chalked it up to the pressures of her job. Architecture was demanding and she was ambitious. I admired that about her. I really did. But there were other things, little things that started to gnaw at me. The way she'd flinch when I touched her, the way she'd avoid eye contact, the way her phone was always glued to her hand, even in bed. One evening, Lowri told me she had to go to Boston for a last-minute meeting. "It's crucial, Oswin," she said, her eyes darting away from mine. "A huge potential client, I have to be there." I kissed her goodbye, telling her to be careful and to call me when she arrived. She promised she would. That night I couldn't sleep. A sense of unease had settled over me, a feeling I couldn't shake. I tossed and turned, my mind racing. Around 2 a.m. I got up and went downstairs. I told myself I was just going to read to distract myself. But as I sat in my study, my eyes fell on Lowri's laptop sitting on her desk. It was usually locked, but for some reason it was open. I hesitated. I knew I shouldn't. I knew it was a violation of her privacy, a breach of trust. But the feeling in my gut was overwhelming. I told myself I just needed to check something, anything, to ease my mind. With trembling hands, I clicked on her email icon. There it was, a recent email from someone named Idris. My heart pounded in my chest as I clicked it open. The email was explicit. It was filled with details of a rendezvous, a passionate encounter that left no room for doubt. Idris wasn't just a colleague, he was someone Lowri was having an affair with. The words swam before my eyes, each one a dagger twisting in my heart. I felt sick, betrayed, and utterly numb. I read on, each email more damning than the last. They had been seeing each other for months, meeting in hotels, exchanging intimate messages, planning their next tryst. It was all there in black and white, a complete and utter betrayal of everything I thought we had. I stumbled back from the desk, my legs weak. The room seemed to spin around me. I sank into a chair, unable to process what I had just read. My wife, the woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, was cheating on me. The next morning, Lowri returned from Boston, looking tired but seemingly unfazed. "How was the meeting?" I asked, my voice betraying none of the turmoil inside me. "It went well," she said, smiling brightly. "I think we've got a good chance of landing the project." I stared at her, trying to reconcile the woman in front of me with the one I had read about in those emails. "Lowri," I said, my voice flat, "I know about Idris." Her face paled. What are you talking about?" she stammered. "I read your emails," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I know about the affair, I know everything." She didn't deny it, she couldn't. The guilt was written all over her face. "Oswin," she began, but I cut her off. "Don't," I said, holding up my hand. "Don't even try to explain, I don't want to hear it." The next few weeks were a blur. We barely spoke, the silence between us thick with resentment and hurt. I moved into the guest room, unable to bear the thought of sharing a bed with her. I consulted a lawyer, began the process of filing for divorce. The life we had built together was crumbling around us, reduced to ashes by her infidelity. I tried to understand why she had done it. Was I not good enough? Was I not attentive enough? Had I somehow failed her? But the truth was, I didn't know, and I didn't think I ever would. She offered no explanation, no apology, just a hollow silence that spoke volumes. During this time, I found solace in an unlikely place, my work. I threw myself into my research, immersing myself in the stories of the past, finding a strange comfort in the knowledge that betrayal and heartbreak were nothing new. History was full of them. One day, as I was grading papers, I received a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer it, but something told me I should. "Hello," I said. "Is this Oswin?" A woman's voice asked. "Yes, it is." "Who's calling?" "My name is Zelia," she said. Idris's wife." My heart skipped a beat. "Idris's wife," I repeated, dumbfounded. "Yes," she said. "I know about the affair. I found out a few weeks ago. We talked for hours that day, sharing our stories, our pain, our anger." Zelia was just as devastated as I was, just as blindsided by her husband's betrayal. We found a strange sort of comfort in our shared misery, a sense of camaraderie in our mutual heartbreak. As we talked, Zelia revealed something that made my blood run cold. Idris, it turned out, was not just having an affair with Lowri. He was also involved in some shady business dealings, using his position at his company to embezzle funds and manipulate contracts. He had apparently bragged about it to Lowri, thinking she would be impressed by his power and wealth. I was stunned. Not only had Lowri betrayed me, but she had also become entangled in something potentially illegal. I knew I had to do something. Together, Zelia and I decided to expose Idris. We gathered all the evidence we could find, emails, documents, financial records, and presented it to the authorities. It was a risky move, but we felt we had no choice. Idris had to be stopped. The investigation that followed was swift and thorough. Idris was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. His career was ruined, his reputation destroyed. He faced years in prison. As for Lowri, she was never charged with any crime, but her involvement in Idris's scheme was enough to tarnish her reputation. Her career took a hit, and she lost several major clients. She tried to apologize to me, to explain her actions, but I refused to listen. The damage was done. There was no going back. In the aftermath of the scandal, Zelia and I grew closer. We found solace in each other's company, a shared understanding of the pain we had both endured. We started spending more time together, going for walks, having dinner, talking for hours about everything and nothing. One evening, as we were sitting on my porch watching the sunset, Zelia turned to me and said, "Oswin, I know this is probably too soon, but I think I'm falling in love with you." I looked at her, surprised but not entirely shocked. I had felt it too, this growing connection between us, this sense of something new and unexpected. "Zelia," I said, "I think I'm falling in love with you too." It wasn't a fairy tale ending. The scars of betrayal would always be there, etched into our hearts. But we had found something beautiful in the midst of the pain, a second chance at love, a new beginning. We had both been broken, but together we were healing. We were building something new, something stronger, something that would last. Lowri, on the other hand, faced the consequences of her actions. She lost her job, her friends, and her reputation. She was left alone with nothing but her regrets. One day I received a letter from her. In it she confessed everything, admitting that she had been selfish and foolish, that she had thrown away something precious for a fleeting moment of excitement. She begged for my forgiveness, but I couldn't give it to her. Not yet, anyway. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her completely. The pain she caused me was too deep, the betrayal too profound. But I have learned to move on, to focus on the future, to embrace the love that I have found with Zelia. Life is full of surprises, both good and bad. Sometimes, the worst things that happen to us can lead us to the best. I never would have imagined that my wife's affair would lead me to find true love, but that's exactly what happened. And for that I am grateful. And as for Idris and Lowri, they got what they deserved. Justice was served, and I was finally able to move on with my life, leaving the past behind me and embracing the future with open arms. I hope my story can help someone who is going through something similar. You are not alone, and you can get through this.